The start of a new year is a time for reflection and setting new goals for the future. It's also a good time to take stock of your financial health. It can be a daunting task, especially for those with no education in financial literacy, which focuses on key points like knowing how to budget, managing debt, and planning for retirement. Knowledge that's essential for economic empowerment. Joining me now to share some tips on getting financially fit is Dr. Albert Williams, Associate Professor and Chair of Finance and Economics at Nova Southeastern University. Dr. Williams, thank you so much for being here. Let's try to talk about getting financially fit and the economy and inflation.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure to be here to talk to you about such an important topic. But let's talk about the global context of what we're going to discuss further down. The global world has been under duress because of inflation, and it came about because of many factors. But one of them is the Russia-Ukraine struggle that was going on. It impacted fuel prices and fertilizer and grain prices. So if fuel prices are impacted, the whole world is impacted by fuel prices, and fuel prices impact food prices. So if you think that we need to resolve that struggle first.
Right.
The next one is China. China impacts the world with all its production. So China is going through a COVID challenge right now. They've just opened the economy, and I believe that China's situation, if they get back to work and make more goods and services, remember, we have a global economy, so we need China to produce more things. COVID is still not fully gone as a global pandemic, but we're watching it. And the government has been working on it, trying to fix it. So economists look at the world and we try to figure out what's driving it. Overall, we are projecting a steady or a slightly flat economy, and that ties in with the financial literacy that we need to talk about. How can people survive in a projection where we don't see the growth? But there's some good things because the unemployment rate is really low, so people have money. And in fact, that's another factor why we have inflation. People got money, they're spending money. The supply chain got messed up, so we don't have many goods, so there's imbalance that causes inflation. So we need to figure out now how we're going to make the world, you, a family member, can do better with the situation of having a flat economy. So that's kind of where we are.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the question that everybody has on their minds, whether, you're living at home by yourself or you're trying to feed a family. You go to the grocery store, you want to fill up your gas tank, and although you have money, you're paying so much more. So how do you ride this wave of inflation and not feel like you have no money left in your bank account at the end of the day?
You know, it is one of the most important topics right now about how to manage your money. The first thing you have to do is put the cards on the table. There are two components of managing your money budgeting: what's coming in and what's going out. So coming in is hard to really determine because you have a job, most people, and they need more money, they have to find something else. But what's coming in, what's spending now, one of the biggest items is rent or mortgage. And there's not much you can do with that. But here's some basic data. The global growth for 2021 was 6% per year. 2022, it fell about almost half, 3.2%. And the projection for 23 is 2.7. But let's go to food. It is, I told you that fuel prices impact food prices, and food prices are showing some signs of improving, but there's still some challenges there with food. These are the things you have to look at. So look at your food bill, evaluate it, and see some substitution will have to happen. By the way, a good news is that chicken prices have gone down, and so you could eat more chicken and maybe less beef.
That's really good information for dinner.
Definitely.
All right, so going to the stock market, which has also been volatile because of everything going on, going up, going down. What can people expect? What are ways investors can turn a profit?
You know, the stock market has its own behavior, and inflation does impact it because once we heard inflation was coming down, the market goes up. With a mild recession, I would advise people not to go tinker with their stock portfolio. Just let it ride the wave. It's not going to go crazy, and you're not going to have to go restructure your portfolio. So I would tell people at this point in time, hold on to what you have. If you have very risky investments, like in the crypto world, everybody knows.
Wow.
You shouldn't have too much in there. Yeah. And if you do, maybe that's something you should really reconsider if you have more in there. But if you have regular stocks and bonds, we don't expect too much of the world to turn upside down with the stock market because we're not projecting a horrible recession. It's more like a flat or maybe a little reduction. So I would not tinker too much with my investments.
Coming around the corner is tax season. And what should they do with that money? Pay down debt, keep it for a rainy day?
The history of the rebate has always been across the board. People will go on vacation, they will pay debt, they'll do everything. This year, I would recommend you hold on to it and keep it in your savings account because of what I had said earlier. If there's a little recession or it's flat, then maybe you don't want to, you could keep that as a little cushion of money. So do not go spend it. Now, if you have a cushion already and you don't need to top it up, that's okay. But
What about paying debt, no?
it's a good thing to pay the debt, but you pay the debt if there's a real need to pay it. Now, we usually say when there are hard times, you pay the minimum and then you weather the storm and then you come back again.
Right.
But if you get $2,000 rebate from the government, your money comes back to you, I wouldn't just go below it. I would hold on to it and see how the economy goes for the year and just keep it there. Rainy day or extra cushion, nothing is wrong with that. And this is important that our people understand. Inflation is not static. So by next week, if we get some resolution to the Ukraine-Russia situation, as well as if China were to get back to work, you might see some improvements in the inflation situation. And the more improvement we see, the more flexibility you have with your spending.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of hope for the future, you know, once we all get to the age of retirement and talk about a cushion, we're paying Social Security, you don't think that that should be all folks rely on?
You know, from financial literacy and wealth building, we do not recommend you only depend on the Social Security check that you are all entitled to. You paid for it. One of the advice I give all my classes and I give everybody I talk to is Social Security is your money. Get it when it's your time, but that may not be enough to keep your standard of living that you're used to. If you were used to living at $8,000 a month, and Social Security only comes up to $2,000, you might have a challenge to live the lifestyle that you're used to. So I recommend that you have additional wealth building along the side, along with your compulsory wealth building for your future, for retirement. So I tell everybody you need to also contribute. And by the way, wealth building is complicated, but you need to save first before you could invest. It's a simple recipe. People, if you don't save, how can you invest? You know?
Well, that's a good point because we want to talk a little bit about how the younger generation can start early. What is your advice? Because these days, you know, younger folks want to think about homes and obviously we are dealing with tough times.
Right.
So what's your advice? Maybe they don't know how to budget. What would you tell them?
One of the exciting things about a young person is getting that first good job. And you come out of college or you finish and you're training and you say, now I'm making money. You start to get a little excited, maybe too excited, and you want to do all kinds. I want that car that I really wanted from when I was in college. But I recommend plan. Look at where your life is going to go. Don't overborrow at the first job you have. But I think many people don't understand financial literacy. I mentioned many times that we have PhDs in spending, but we don't have PhDs in investing and managing our money in the total sense.
Yes,
so,
many of us have PhDs in spending, but
correct.
You would say don't do that.
No.
Final tip before you leave us today.
Yeah, so I would recommend that look at all your expenses. I didn't mention the one about the car expenses, but don't drive too fast. That burns up gasoline. Keep tabs on you. Keep your car in top shape. But if I were to leave something for all of us here in South Florida, is that financial literacy is part of our lives, and you will need to do it from the time mommy had you and your parents had you till the time you pass on. Financial literacy is a continuous process, but the sooner you learn it, like South Florida, in fact, Florida has just passed a bill that all high school students starting fall of 23 must take a financial literacy course. I applaud that because that will help to break the cycle of poverty. It'll help the world to understand that we need to manage our money like how we manage our health. We manage money the same way. You need a money doctor, you need a health doctor. So we must keep tabs of how our money is being spent.
Well, I already feel more financially healthy. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Williams.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm hoping that we're all a little bit more financially literate from this program.
Yes, absolutely.